Tom Brady has agreed to join Fox Sports as its lead NFL analyst whenever he stops playing, whenever it is that day comes.
Tom Brady has been bamboozling the entire football world all offseason long. I mean, from the very beginning, this man pulled a 180 in regards to his retirement, and once again, this individual just sent shockwaves throughout the NFL. Now, before we get to the content, I wanted to let you guys know that we began live streaming on twitch.tv/TF Mikerophone. So if you want to come through and watch me react live as you tell me to my face that the Dallas Cowboys stink, that's where you should come to, twitch.tv/TF Microphone. On top of that, we're giving away $500 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Now that we get all that out of the way, break. Now that the NBA playoffs are in full swing, every single dollar counts, especially if you want to use that money towards a parlay, which is why I partnered with Albert to save as much of my money as I possibly could. You see, the difference between Albert and a traditional bank is Albert doesn't charge overdraft fees. They won't charge you a fee for having a checking and savings account. And they even give cash back on debit card purchases. And they'll even work behind the scenes to make sure you save, instead of opening a traditional savings account and hoping that you would remember to put money into it, which I definitely don't. Albert looks at your income and expenses and sees what type of money you could save. And they'll move some of that money into your savings account little by little without you even noticing, really. It's kind of like that feeling where you find money in your pocket that you didn't know was there. That's pretty much what it's like to have an Albert account. And let's say you're bad at managing your money like I am. Well, Albert has a feature that they call Genius, which is a team of financial experts that will look at your situation and answer any of your questions in the event that you get stuck. And they're so confident that you're going to like the app that they're willing to give you $150 when you use my link in the description down below, albert.com/TFM, open a checking account, and connect a qualifying direct deposit. You have nothing to lose, man. It takes like 5 minutes to create an account with my link in the description down below. And once you do it and open a checking account and link a qualifying direct deposit, they'll give you $150. That's albert.com/TFM. And thank you, Albert, for the sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? If there is one word I would like to use for Tom Brady's offseason, it is deception. I mean, at least as an NFL fan, and I'm not complaining about it at all whatsoever, because I want this man on the field, especially because my team doesn't play in the NFC South. I'm sorry, Saints, Panthers, and Falcons, but Tom Brady's back for another season after a very strange offseason. I mean, it's very normal for a 44-year-old to decide that, hey, I have won more Super Bowls than any player or team in NFL history. I've shattered records, and I haven't had many concussions. I am still, for the most part, healthy. Yes, I know he tore his ACL in his career, but thankfully, knock on wood, Tom Brady doesn't seem like an individual that sustained a lot of head trauma throughout his career, and he's still able to play at a high level at the age of 44. So you would think that he would retire, but no, we were deceived. He comes back and decides to return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after rumors were running rampant of this individual potentially joining the Miami Dolphins as a part owner, and the Miami Dolphins pursuing Sean Payton to team up with him as his head coach. Now, I wonder how the Miami Dolphins offseason would have looked like if they were able to pull this off, if they were able to get Tom Brady, even though it's a huge long shot. But the Miami Dolphins owner historically, allegedly, was trying to pursue Tom Brady. I don't know if you remember the Brian Flores lawsuit, where during the offseason where Tom Brady was a free agent, the owner of the Miami Dolphins tried to arrange a meeting where Tom Brady allegedly, he's not specifically named, but it's who we think it is, happened to walk to the yacht that the owner of the Miami Dolphins and Brian Flores was at. Now, ultimately, that was all thrown away because inevitably Tom Brady came back right before free agency and started recruiting players to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to hopefully make one more Super Bowl run, assuming that this is even his final NFL season, which we're gonna get to that. So what's interesting about this is lately there's been a trend in the NFL. If you've paid attention, quarterbacks, ex-quarterbacks, and broadcasters in general are getting paid huge sums of money. I personally pay a lot of attention to this, not because I am a broadcaster or ever imagine of becoming a broadcaster, but I do think that that job and what I currently do are kind of cousins or second cousins to one another. I mean, they're live broadcasting games and commentating over games. I bring you guys news from the comfort of my own home, and I keep you guys up to date with all things that pertain to football here and basketball on my Flight Mike channel and other stuff on my Flight Mike TV channel. So I pay a lot of attention to the numbers that these individuals are getting. And there's a huge trend that was spearheaded by Troy Aikman many decades ago, but more recently, Tony Romo a few years ago. When Tony Romo retired following the 2017 season and made his jump to commentary, he took the NFL world by storm, absolutely dazzling us with his commentary. With respect to Troy Aikman, as much as I love him as a commentator and as a Dallas Cowboy legend, his commentary wasn't nearly as detailed as Tony Romo. There's compilations of Tony Romo literally predicting plays as they are about to happen. Now, I think the primary reason for this is clearly Tony Romo played in an NFL where offenses were more complicated than Troy Aikman's offenses when he was in the NFL. I mean, obviously, how complicated could the Jason Garrett offense be? But with respect to that, it was still a breath of fresh air. Tony Romo was definitely providing a brand new element to these games that resulted in the people that consumed NFL content and media to look at the game at a significantly different way, strategically and tactically. Even the most casual fan was getting an education in the way football works from one of the better quarterbacks of the past decade. As a result, Tony Romo got paid handsomely, which meant really good things for the rest of the NFL broadcasting world, by the way. Tony Romo got paid a 10-year, $180 million contract from CBS. This resulted in a little bit of a shakeup in terms of broadcasting this past offseason. Troy Aikman, of course, one of the best quarterbacks of the 1990s and a very charismatic individual at that, saw this Tony Romo money and said, okay, it might be time for me to get my own payday. Both him and Joe Buck went to ESPN. As a result, Troy Aikman got a 5-year, $90 million contract. Hell, you don't even need to be a quarterback to get this type of money, as Al Michaels went from NBC to Amazon, which is now going to be broadcasting Thursday Night Football for 3 years in a deal that has been reported at anywhere from $10 to $15 million a year. And once again, it seems like Tom Brady is going to shift everyone's plans. You see, when Tom Brady came back from retirement, a lot of people don't really pay attention to this, and I can't really blame you for this, but the NFL schedule makers literally admitted that his unretirement forced the NFL schedule makers to completely start over. They said when Tom retired, we were concerned about the strength of the NFC package because there were so many terrific Tampa Bay games we were looking at. Then a month later, he unretires, and we sort of started all over again. So far, we already know of some fantastic games we're going to be getting during Christmas time, which yikes if you're the NBA. But I digress. The one question that you might all be asking is, who is going to take Troy Aikman's spot at Fox? Both Troy Aikman and Joe Buck dipped from Fox to go to ESPN. Those are two coveted broadcasting positions that are open. Well, supposedly one of the individuals that are going to be broadcasting is Kevin Burkhardt, possibly even Greg Olsen, but once he retires, if he does retire, it seems like Tom Brady is headed to Fox Sports. Because according to Adam Schefter, Tom Brady has agreed to join Fox Sports as its lead NFL analyst whenever he stops playing, Lachlan Murdoch has announced. And I personally love the articles, man, because it says in every single article, yeah, Tom Brady is going to join Fox Sports whenever his career ends, as if, okay, we don't know when his career is going to end, but once it ends, he's going to Fox Sports. Now, even Tom Brady came out and emphasized that he is not done playing football yet. I mean, look at this man's tweet over here saying, I'm excited, but there's a lot of unfinished business on the field with the Buccaneers, hashtag LFG. Now, here's the bizarre part about this. If you look at Tom Brady's current contract, the man is making $15 million annually with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when you look at the contract he's supposed to earn once he begins commentating, it is going to make your eyes pop out of your sockets, because before this man even stepped into a broadcasting booth, according to Ari Meirov, Tom Brady's deal with Fox will pay him $20 to $25 million a year, making him the highest paid NFL TV analyst. The agreement is believed to be a long-term deal, more than the typical 5 years, and will come in at the $190 to $200 million range over the life of his contract. So you might be wondering, why on earth would you pay Tom Brady this sum of money. My assumption is, and this is just my assumption, if you brought Tony Romo, who is a fairly modern QB, who isn't necessarily considered to be the best quarterback of his generation, to analyze football games, and he was able to provide the commentary that he was able to, then hey, let's see what the Manning brothers could do. When you watch Monday Night Manning with Peyton and Eli, with respect to Eli Manning, Peyton seems to be locked in on analyzing what's going on the football field. Yes, obviously, the broadcast could use some work, obviously, with the fact that it seems like they're both just reacting to games like they're YouTube reactors, and the times that they bring in guests might not be the most appropriate, usually if you're just trying to focus on the game. But for the most part, the commentary that one of the greatest football players of all time could offer, Peyton Manning, is invaluable. Now, imagine Tom Brady, an individual that has been playing football for 21 freaking years, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and the king of situational football. A man that understands not only how to dominate on the field, but to put him in situations where he will succeed. This man left the New England Patriots at the perfect time for him to win an additional Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This man has been mired in controversy throughout his entire career. Believe me, we made content on it and has successfully navigated it each and every time. So, without a doubt, having this guy teaching the individuals that are watching football games more about football is invaluable. Now, obviously, this could blow up in Fox Sports' face. If Tom Brady just happens to be a horrific broadcaster, then yes, Fox is going to be out of $190 to $200 million. But what are the odds of that happening? This is a man that has been able to adapt to the times. He posts hysterical TikToks.
Tell me something honest.
Tuckerell game against the Raiders. Might have been a fumble.
And for the most part, you have to admit, he's a remarkable businessman. Now, does this mean he's going to be done playing after this year? I don't know. It's really hard to tell. This is what I felt last year, and I feel like this is what's going to happen this year. It really depends on how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finish. If he finishes with another Super Bowl and that scratches the itch, then maybe he calls it quits after this year. If he comes within a finger's length distance of a Super Bowl to the point where he just has to return to the field again next year, then I can imagine him coming back. When you also factor in the fact that no matter what happens with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, Tom Brady is allowed to join any team he wants next year because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, there's a decent chance that Brady isn't going to be commentating for Fox Sports for quite some time. Now, bear in mind, I can't 100% predict these things because it's Tom freaking Brady. This is a guy that played his age 44 season in the NFL, then decided to retire, then unretired, then signed a contract with Fox Sports that is probably going to set him and his family up for the rest of their lives if they're not already set up for the rest of their lives. Bear in mind, he's married to one of the most influential models in not only the United States, but in the world, who already has a significant sum of wealth. I think this is just a nice, safe retirement strategy that could put Tom Brady at ease. When he's ready to transition out of playing football, he could transition into broadcasting. I'll be damned if at the end of the 2023 season, if a good opportunity presents itself to Tom Brady where he could just join a team, slot right in, win a quick Super Bowl, and leave, he might be tempted to come back for his age 46 season. Needless to say though, Tom Brady is one of the most magnificent businessmen that I've ever seen. Let me know in the comment section down below, how do you guys feel about this news? Do you think Tom Brady deserves to be an analyst, or do you think this is just Fox spending way too much money on something that's unnecessary? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.